Good evening, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Financial Fridays. I am Pastor Sean Davis. You can follow me, of course, at SD2Mics on Instagram and Twitter. Also on Facebook at Sean Marcel Davis. That's Sean with a U. And I'm so pleased you joined us this weekend. As we always tell you, go ahead and share this right now. Share. Don't hoard what God is about to give you in consultation with our elder Alonzo Hinton, financial advice. Go ahead and share it right now so others will be drawn in, can receive the same information that you will be receiving tonight. Of course, as always, we are brought to you by Marshall Davis Ministries. And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. I believe we're going to get into something that everybody needs to take a keen look at when you examine where you are in your life and where you might want to be in, say, 15 to 20 years. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. My brother, Elder Alonzo Hinton, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great today. Today has been a very busy day, but I'm excited about this topic. I was initially going to do a different topic talking about compounding interest, but that didn't have enough meat for the amount of time we had. So I'm going to probably add that to another presentation that we have at another time. But today we are going to talk about the different type of retirement accounts.
Amen. Let's get right into it. Of course, feel free to go ahead and type your questions in the comments below the video that you are watching. And of course, you see Elder Alonzo Hinton's email address and his website right there. Go ahead and let the people know where they can catch up with you and send questions during the week.
Yes, sir. They can reach me at Alonzo. This is my email address, Alonzo Hinton at misifinancialliteracy.org. And then you can also reach me on Facebook at MISI Financial Literacy.
All right. Without further ado, I'll turn it over into the hands of our elder Alonzo Hinton.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us. And this is a great topic. It's relevant to everyone because everyone is going to get to that point where they're ready to retire. Part of the reason that you work a job that you go in every day is to save up for retirement. So one day you get to a certain age and you can say, I don't want to work no more. So it's important that you make the correct decision, make the decision that's best for you, because retirement will likely be the biggest expense of your entire life, which means it's a big job. So we need to be aware of the options that we have out there. It isn't saving for retirement isn't always so straightforward. When you start a new job, you kind of just, they have all those different options and you just kind of pick one that looks familiar. But you really need to understand there's different type of retirement plans and you need to pick the one that's just for you. So we're going to start out with one you heard. There's different type of retirement accounts, as we mentioned. The first one is a traditional individual retirement arrangement, or an IRA, as you might know it. With an IRA, you open and fund the IRA yourself. So it's funds for it yourself. This is not a plan through your employer. As far as income taxes, you may receive an income tax deduction or contributions depending on your income or access through another program. The balance in the IRA will always grow tax deferred, which means the taxes will not hit until you withdraw it from your retirement account, and withdrawals will be taxed also. So the amount of the withdrawal being taxed will depend on whether the contributions were deductible or non-deductible. There is a contribution limit. The contribution limit in 2020 was $6,000, and in 2021 it'll be $7,000 for people age 50 and over. The pros for a traditional IRA: you might be able to lower your tax bill if you're eligible to make deductible contributions. And then additionally, the money will grow in a tax deferred account, which means we can make a difference over the longer period of time. And then finally, there are no income limits, which means you don't have to make a certain amount of money to have a traditional IRA. A traditional IRA is usually best for people who can make deductible contributions and want to lower their tax bill, or individuals who earn too much money to contribute directly to a Roth IRA, because we're going to get to a Roth IRA in a second. Higher income earners might not get to deduct contributions from their taxes right at this moment, but they can take advantage of the tax-deferred growth between now and retirement. An IRA can also be used for consolidating and rolling over 401k accounts from previous jobs. You might keep this in mind that there's a 10% penalty for withdrawing from a traditional IRA before the age of 59 and a half. You cannot deduct IRA contributions if you're already covered by a retirement account through your work and earn more according to your modified gross adjusted income than $74,000 a year. All right. The cons are traditional IRA come with a number of restrictions, including how much can be contributed and when you can start withdrawals without penalties. Traditional IRAs are essentially a bet on the tax rate you'll be paying when you begin withdrawals at the age of 59 and a half, as the account grows tax deferred, but are taxed upon withdrawal. Also, traditional IRAs generally mandate withdrawals starting at age 72. And then the next one is a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is similar to a traditional IRA in that you open and fund yourself. So that's not done through an employer. As far as the income taxes, the Roth IRA contribution are made with after-tax money, which means you won't receive an income tax deduction for contributions, but your balance will grow tax-free, which is a benefit, and you'll be able to withdraw the money tax-free in retirement. So that's the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. The contribution is $6,000 with $6,000 in 2020, the maximum you can put into it. And then 2021, the maximum contribution limit will be $7,000. The pros, while contributing to a Roth IRA, it won't lower your tax bill now. Having the money grow tax-free and being able to withdraw the money tax-free down the road provides value in the future. It's usually best for somebody who wants to take advantage of the flexibility to withdraw from an account during retirement without paying taxes. So a traditional IRA, you'll pay taxes once you start withdrawing. A Roth IRA, you won't pay taxes because you'll be paying the taxes now. All right. To contribute to a Roth IRA, you must have an earned income. Your ability to contribute begins to phase out when your income reaches $122,000 a year. As a joint filer, your ability to contribute to a Roth IRA phases out at $193,000 a year. The cons, like a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA has tight contribution restrictions. Unlike a traditional IRA, it does not offer tax deductions for contributions. And as with the traditional IRA, there's a penalty for taking some kind of distributions before age 59 and a half. The next one is a 401k program. A 401k plan is an employer-sponsored retirement. This is probably the most familiar one to most of us. A 401k plan is an employer-sponsored retirement account offered to the employees of a company. If you choose to make, as far as income taxes, if you choose to make a pre-tax contribution, your contribution will reduce your taxable income. Additionally, the money will grow tax deferred and you'll pay taxes on the withdrawal in retirement. Additionally, some employers allow you to make after-tax or Roth contributions to a 401k. You should check with your individual employer to see if that's an option. The contribution limit is $19,500 in 2020 and 21 for the employee. People over the age of 50 can contribute an additional $6,500. The pros, the money is deducted from your paycheck, excuse me, and that automates the process of saving. Some companies offer a company match, and there's a significantly higher limit than with traditional IRA and Roth IRA accounts. It's usually best for someone who works for a company that offers one, especially if the employer provides a matching contribution. A 401k retirement plan can also be especially useful for people who want to put retirement on autopilot. I don't want to think about my retirement. I'm going to just have this taken out. I don't want to look at it when it's ready for me to retire. I just want it to be there. And then we have to consider that sometimes 401k plans have an account maintenance or other fees. Because a 401k plan is set up by your employer, you only get to choose from the investment options that they provide. So there are a limited number of options which your employer provides. And the cons for a 401k program, you're largely at the mercy of your employer. There's no guarantee that they'll pick a plan that you feel is right for you or that is cost effective. Also, the value of a 401k comes from two things: the pre-contribution and employer match. If your employer doesn't match, a 401k may not be as valuable to you. There are also penalties for early withdrawal before the age of 59 and a half, although there are some exceptions for certain public employees. The next one is a solo 401k plan. This is essentially a one-person 401k plan for self-employed individuals or business owners with no employees, in which you are the employer and the employee. Income taxes, the contribution made to the plan, are tax deductible. The contribution limit, $19,500 in 2000 and 2021, or 100% of your earned income, whichever is lower, plus employer contributions up to 25% of your compensation from the business. The total cannot exceed $57,000. On top of that, people over age 50 can contribute an additional $6,500. The pros for a solo 401k: it allows for large amounts of money to be invested with pre-tax dollars. It provides some of the benefits of a traditional 401k for those who don't have access to a traditional employer-sponsored 401k retirement account. It's usually best for self-employed people with enough income and a large enough business to fully use the plan. The cons are: you can't open a solo 401k if you have any employees, though you can hire your spouse so they can also contribute to the plan as an employee, and you can match their contributions as the employer. The next one is a simple IRA plan. SIMPLE is an acronym for Savings Incentive Match Plans for Employees. This retirement plan is set up by an employer who is required to contribute on an employee's behalf, although employees are not required to contribute. As far as income taxes, the employee contribution are made with pre-tax dollars. Additionally, the money will grow tax deferred, and you will pay taxes on the withdrawals in retirement. The contribution limit is $13,500 in 2020 and 2021. And then for people over 50, $16,500. The pros: employers contribute to eligible employee retirement accounts at 2% of their salaries, whether or not the employees do themselves. So this is free money, essentially. And then for employees who do contribute, the company will match up to 3%. We have to consider that only employers with less than 100 employees are allowed to participate. And then the cons are that the contribution limits for employees are lower than in the 401k, and the penalties for early withdrawals, 25% before 59 and a half, are higher. The next one is called a SEP plan, Simplified Employee Pension. This is a retirement account established by a small business owner or a self-employed person for themselves, and if applicable, any employees. The income taxes, your contribution will reduce your taxable income. Additionally, the money will grow tax deferred, and you will pay tax on withdrawal and retirement. The contribution for 2020, whichever one is lower, either $57,000 or 25% of your earned income. The pros: higher contribution limit than IRA and Roth IRAs, and contributions are tax deductible for the business owner. It's usually best for self-employed people and small business owners who wish to contribute to an IRA for themselves and or their employees. You have to consider that because you're setting up a retirement plan for a business, there's more paperwork and unique rules. When opening an employer-sponsored retirement plan, it helps to consult a tax advisor. And then the cons: these plans are employer contribution only and greatly rely on the financial wherewithal and available cash of the business itself. The next one is a payroll deduction IRA, either traditional or Roth IRA that is funded through payroll deductions. So the ones we talked about earlier, you fund it yourself. A payroll deduction is obviously taken out of your paycheck. As far as income taxes, For a traditional IRA, you may receive an income tax deduction or contributions, depending on income, access to through a retirement plan from work. The balance in the IRA will always grow tax deferred, and withdrawals will always be taxed. How much is taxed depends on if you made deductible or non-deductible contributions. For a Roth IRA, contributions are made with after-tax money. Your balance will grow tax-free, and you'll be able to withdraw the money tax-free in retirement. The contribution limit, $6,000 or $7,000 for people over age 50. Pastor Sean, you had a question?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions that have come about. First question: How old can you be to be able to withdraw from a Roth IRA? I don't know if they're asking without penalty or just in general, but
right. I'm assuming they mean without penalty. You have to be 59 and a half. Yep. If you if you withdraw before 59 and a half, it'll be a 10% penalty.
All right. The next question. They want to know, how can one go about buying shares of stock?
Okay, so that's a different question. So we're going to wrap up this IRA. Then I talk to them about how they can go about buying shares of stocks after we wrap this up, because I don't want to get off topic. Probably about 5-10 more minutes. I think that's Lisa who asked that question. So we'll, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to tell you how to buy stock. So payroll deduction, IRAs, the contribution, as we mentioned. The pros automatically deposits money from your paycheck into a retirement account. It's usually best for people who do not have access to another retirement plan through their employer. And you have to consider that these are the same rules as a traditional IRA, such as a 10% penalty for withdrawing funds before age 59 and a half. Only employees can contribute to a payee deduction IRA. The cons are that employees must do the work of setting up the plan, and that employers cannot contribute to it as with the 401k. Participants cannot borrow against the retirement plan or use it as a collateral for loans. For profit sharing plans or PSPs, a retirement plan funded by discretionary employee contributions that give employees a share of the profits of a company. So as far as income taxes, they're deferred. They're assessed on the distributions from the account in retirement. The contribution limit is the lesser of 25% of the employee's compensation, or $56,000. For pros, an employee receives a percentage of a company's profits based on their earnings. Companies can set these up in addition to other qualified retirement plans and make contribution on a completely voluntary basis. It's usually best for people whose companies want the flexibility to contribute to a PSP on an ad hoc basis. You have to consider that early withdrawal from the plan is subject to penalty, and the cons are that these plans put employees at the mercy of their employer's profits, unlike the retirement plans that allow employees to invest in securities issued by other companies. And then defined benefit plans. These plans are more commonly known as pension plans, or retirement plans provided by the employer, where an employee's retirement benefits are calculated using a formula that factors in age, salary, and length of employment. The income taxes are deferred, and they are assessed on distributions from the plan in retirement. The contribution limit is determined by an enrolled actuary and the employer. The pros: it provides tax benefits to the employee and the employer, and provides a fixed payout upon retirement that many retirees find desirable. It's usually best for companies that want to provide their employers with a defined or predetermined benefit in their retirement years. And we have to consider that these plans are becoming less popular because they cost an employer way more to upkeep than a defined contribution plan, such as a 401k plan. The cons: these plans are increasingly rare, but for those who do have them, issues can include difficulty realizing or accessing the benefits if you don't work at a company for long enough. The next one is employee stock ownership plans, known as ESOPs. This is a qualified defined contribution plan that invest in the stock of the sponsoring employer. Income taxes are deferred. When an employee leaves a company or retires, they receive the fair market value for the stock they own. They can either take a taxable distribution or roll the money into an IRA. The contribution limits, allocations are made by the employer, usually on the basis of relative pay. There's typically a vesting schedule where an employer gains access to shares in 1 to 6 years. Excuse me. The pros, it could provide tax advantages to the employee. ESOP plans also align the interests of a company and its employees. So the better the company does, the more you have in your retirement. Cons, these plans concentrate risk for employees. An employee already risks losing their job if an employer is doing poor financially. By making some of their compensation employee stock, that risk is magnified. In contrast, other retirement plans allow an employee to invest stocks and other securities that are not tied to the financial performance of their employer. The next one is 457 plans, 457 plans. This is an employer-sponsored deferred compensation plan for employees of state and local government agencies and some tax-exempt organizations. As far as income taxes, if you choose to make a pre-tax contribution, contributions will reduce your taxable income. And then additionally, the money will grow tax deferred and you will pay taxes on the withdrawals in retirement. Additionally, some employers also allow you to make after-tax or Roth contributions to 401k. The contribution limits, $19,500 in 2020 and 2021, and some plans allow for catch-up contributions. The pros, plan participants can withdraw as soon as they are retired at any age, and they do not have to wait until age 59 and a half, as with 401k and 401(b) plans. It's usually best for employees of governmental agencies. The cons are that 457 plans do not have the same kind of employer match as a 401k plan. While employers can contribute to the plan, it's only up to the combined limit for individual contributors. The next one, and I think it's the last one, is the guaranteed income annuities, or GIAs. These are products sold by insurance companies. They are similar to the increasingly rare defined benefit pensions in that they have a fixed payout that will last until the end of life. These products are generally available to people who are already eligible to receive payouts from their retirement plans. The income taxes, if the annuity is funded by 401k benefits, then it is taxed like income. Annuities purchased with Roth IRAs, however, have a different tax structure. For non-qualified annuities, for example, annuities purchased with after-tax income, a formula is used to determine the taxes so that the earnings and principal can be separated out. The contribution limit, annuities do not have contribution limits. The pros, these allow for payouts until the end of life and are fixed, meaning they're not dependent on market performance, and they're usually best for people who have high levels of savings and can afford to make expensive initial payments on annuities. I thought that was it. We actually have 3 more. I'm sorry. Cash balance programs. This is another type of pension plan that combines the feature of defined benefits and defined contribution plans. They're sometimes offered by employers that previously had defined benefit plans. The plans provide an employer contribution equal to the percent of each year's earnings and rate of return on that contribution. The income taxes contribution come out of pre-tax income similar to 401k. The contribution limit, the plan combines a pay credit based on an employee's salary and an interest credit. That's a certain percentage rate. The employee then gets an account balance worth of benefits upon retirement that can be paid out as annuity or payments for life or a lump sum. The limits depend on age, but for those over 60, they can be more than $250,000. The pros, it can reduce taxable income, and this program is usually best for high earners or business owners with consistent income. Then the next one is a cash value life insurance plan. Cash value life insurance covers a policy holder's entire life and has tax deferred savings, making it comparable to other retirement plans. Some of the premium paid every month goes to this investment product, which grows over time. The income taxes are deferred until the policy is withdrawn from, at which point withdrawals are taxed at the policy's current income rate. The contribution limit, the plan is drawn with an insurance company with set premiums. And then pros, these plans have a tax deferring feature and can be borrowed from. And this is usually best for high earners who've maxed out other retirement plans. And then the last one is non-qualified deferred compensation plans, otherwise known as NQDCs. These are plans typically designed for executives at companies who've maxed out other retirement plans. These plans defer payments and the taxes you would otherwise receive as a salary at a later date. Income taxes are deferred until you receive the payments at the agreed upon date. The contribution limit is none. The pros of plans don't have to be entirely geared around retirement. While you can set dates with some flexibility, they are fixed, and it's usually best for highly paid employees whom typical retirement plans will not provide enough savings compared to their income. So all this, what's the takeaway? Depending on your employment circumstances, many possible retirement plans in which you can invest money for retirement. Some are offered by employers. Others can be set up as individuals, which we explain. And then the benefits of each of these available retirement plans differ, though they all share one positive attribute. Investing in them is an important step in saving for retirement. And then if you're opening your own retirement savings account, such as an IRA or a Roth IRA, you can do so at a brokerage or a bank or a mutual fund house or another financial service company. Do we have any questions about the retirement accounts, Pastor Sean?
Yeah, we do. Before I get to that, we know that Zechariah 4:10 tells us to despise not the days of small beginnings. So I just wanted to make it pertinent that we are allowing people to get this information, but we want you to know more than anything that saving is just a sound financial principle.
Yep.
If you took out retirement, just saving in general as a sound financial principle. And the thing I want to get to, and I think Kirk Gregory, our insurance guru, when we had him on, Kirk Gregory Jr., you can follow him on Facebook. He talked about being able to use different things, especially insurance policies, as part of investment and all of the different options you have via insurance policies. I want to ask you this. First, my first question to you would be demographic, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I think we will both agree it's never too late to start. The later you start, the more aggressive you would probably have to be. But, what would you say to young people out there that are watching you? How soon should they really start thinking about retirement and investing in their retirement?
As soon as they get their first job, as soon as possible. You want to start saving as soon as possible. When I started, the original topic for tonight was compounding interest. And I was going to talk about that. And the thing about compounding interest is you don't see the benefits of compound interest the first year. You see it the longer term, the longer you continue to save. And compound interest is when, as opposed to simple interest, when you just get interest upon your principal. Compound interest, you get interest on the principal and on the interest. So that's why it's a snowballing effect. Like a snowball, it starts off small, and as you push it down the hill, it gets bigger and faster and faster and faster and larger. That's how saving early starts. You don't see the benefits early, but the longer you save and consistently invest. Last week, we talked about investing consistently, making sure you invest the same amount twice or three times a month. So that's where the benefit is. And that's the benefit, as we always talk about, Pastor Sean, we getting a little older. The benefit that youth have is their youth and that they have time.
Absolutely.
And use that time to their advantage. Also, with the insurance, you can get an insurance policy. And once again, you get an insurance policy in your 20s. if you decide in your 40s you want to tap into that cash value to pay for your kids' college, to open up a business, you just have different options. And this is what these things we're talking about on Financial Fridays give us. They give us different options, and we're presenting this information so that you can go out and research it yourself and say, hey, what's the best option for me? As we mentioned, Kirk Gregory, I have an insurance policy with him. You can call him. We can give you his information if you want, but you need to start looking at these things. Even if you contribute small amounts, as Pastor Sean mentioned, if you're a little older, you're going to have to be a little more aggressive. You're going to have to contribute more as you get older, but you do need to start contributing something.
Now, it's something I wish he was on with us. I want to get your opinion on this, though.
Okay.
Would you view someone that has a mortgage for a home that's paid off, let's say in their 50s or 60s, would you view that as an asset or a part of someone's retirement plan?
I would view it as an asset because you're no longer paying the debt on it. So usually when you have a house, the net value of the house is offset by the debt you owe on the house, right? So it's kind of hard to call it an asset because it's canceled out by the liabilities. Now the net worth of the house is what you have, which contributes to your net worth. You no longer have that liability of paying that mortgage every month. So you have the option of pulling out, I can't think of the term right now, a home equity line of credit. You have a whole bunch of things. You have the option of it being a part of what you turn over to your children. So it's definitely a benefit, and that's one of the benefits of home ownership if you are fortunate enough to pay off the loan.
All right, let's go back to some of these questions for you. I'm familiar with this one. What is a 403B plan?
A 401(k) retirement plan is a plan just for teachers. It just has a different name. I don't know all the specifics of it, but it's just done for teachers. That's all.
Yeah, the 403B plan, I believe, is for teachers, also non-for-profits. That's how I'm familiar with it from the non-for-profit side. We had one a long time ago via American Express,
right?
A 403B plan, so I'm very familiar with that. Also, what is a mutual fund?
A mutual fund is just a group of stocks together, and based on their performance, you're contributing to that particular fund. It either goes up or down based on how those stocks are performing. So as opposed to being one stock, it's a group of stocks put together.
And usually you have the option to choose whether or not you want an aggressive bunch of stocks, a moderate group of stocks, or a low risk group of stocks in that mutual fund. Of course, the greater the risk, the greater the return,
right?
So on and so forth. So if you're looking long term and you have more time, it might be cool to either go with the moderate or the low risk batch of stocks right there in the mutual fund. Okay, someone wants to know, is there an IRA that only allows you to withdraw until you hit 70?
With all IRAs, you can withdraw once you get 59 and a half, right? Once you get 59 and a half, you can automatically withdraw. If you're not withdrawing by the age 72, they're going to make you start taking out.
Yeah, now they definitely do that when you hit 72. Yeah. Let's get to before we close, let's get to the stock question.
A stock question. So
buying stock. It's so easy today in comparison to what it was like maybe 5-10 years ago.
It's so easy today. All you have to do is do your research, pick a firm you want to do. I use TD Ameritrade. They're going to ask you to make an initial deposit. With some of them, if you contribute a certain amount, they'll actually give you additional cash. And then you just, pick the stock you want, decide which stock you want, and choose how many shares of the stock you want. It's not a complicated process. Of course, there's going to be a fee in choosing those stocks, but you have the ability to pick those stocks. Of course, you can call them and they can give you advice on what stock to pick. But if you choose to do it on your own, you're going to have to do all the research. You're going to have to pick a firm. Like I said, I use TD Ameritrade. There are others out there. Let me look on my phone. I have a couple on my phone. Acorns. What's the other one I can't think about right now? It's another one out there. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there are a number of ones out there that you can pick. Just do your research.
I know there's Robinhood as well.
Robinhood, that's the one I'm thinking about. Robinhood, a lot of younger people use Robinhood. So it's up to you. Just deposit your money, then go about picking stocks. We're going to mention some stocks in a few minutes that you can take a look at. You can see us here every Friday, and at the end of every broadcast, we're going to have stock tips for you that you can look into and decide. But as always, if you pick a stock, you accept the responsibility of whether it goes up or down. There's no guarantee when we give a stock opinion. That's exactly what it is, an opinion. And with any investment, it's a potential risk of loss.
And getting back to that 403B plan, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it also includes nurses, doctors, and health organizations as well.
I will definitely look that up after we get done and type 413 information in the comments.
403B.
403B.
403B retirement fund. Non-for-profit, definitely teachers and public schools. And then you have some medical organizations as well that offer it to nurses and doctors. I think that's also through some type of tax exempt, type of setup, because they're named after either a church or a saint this, a saint that. So that is the loophole by which they can go ahead and be included in that 403B non-for-profit wise. So let's get into the stocks. What's the stock tips of the week?
All right. So let me get my phone. I have it saved on my phone. So what we're going to talk about is 5G. We know we hear all this 5G. Apple came out with a 5G phone last year. So right now it's really about to take off. So it's different type of stocks in 5G that's going to take off in a year. Like I said, 4G is kind of going past. The world's been preparing for 5G, and this year it's kind of going to start going forth. The first one we want to look at is T-Mobile investments. If T-Mobile had investments in the 5G landscape, puts them in a great position going forward. They recently announced new multi-billion-dollar agreements with Ericsson and Nokia to expand more. So you want to look at T-Mobile. And then you want to look at Crown Castle, which has cell towers. They spent many years and billions of dollars out building out 5G networks, infrastructure in densely populated areas. Their investment haven't paid off in the 4G world because the technology isn't compatible, but now you should expect those investments to pay off. And then, of course, Apple, they launched the 5G phone, the iPhone 12 in September. They're poised to benefit from a huge 5G upgrade cycle. And then a company called Inseego, Inseego. It makes 5G infrastructure, including 5G mobile hotspots. They've recently cleaned up their balance sheet, so they have a lot of money free. And then as far as semiconductors, if you've been paying attention to the market lately, semiconductor companies are on fire, absolutely on fire. So Marvel Technology, Marvel spelled with 2 L's, it makes chip for networking, communication, and storage. And they expect the explosive 5G growth. And then another semiconductor company, Qualcomm, Qualcomm. The technology platform is essential for 5G networks to actually work as advertised. So that's a big benefit that company has. They spent years developing product and fighting some customers like Apple in court. And then another semiconductor company, Skyworks Solutions. 5G cell phones need a lot more Skyworks components than a 4G phone. And they're a huge supplier for Apple. And then another semiconductor company, which is one of the leaders in chips, manufacturing chips, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, Taiwan, Taiwan, Semiconductor Manufacturing. They're strategically positioned as a manufacturer for semiconductor design companies. They've recently boosted their capital expenditures budget to help make up for a current chip shortage. And then as far as cybersecurity, you want to look at a company called CrowdStrike. They're a cloud-native cybersecurity provider protecting networks connected to 5G devices. And then for cloud content, you want to go with a company called Fastly. They have next-generation content delivery network for digital media companies. With a new president taking over, a new administration, there's less of a threat of a ban on a client, which is called TikTok. All right. So those are all the stock tips for the week. 5G. Look at those. Still do your research. Don't just start buying. Do your research. Look at what the analysts say. One of the things that I like particularly about TD Ameritrade, they have extensive information on stocks. They have charts. They talk about what analysts are recommending for these particular stocks. So definitely find someone where you can look at stocks. Is just not listening to me, listening to somebody on TV, reading in a magazine. It's all those plus gathering your own information and making an informed decision.
Yeah, I definitely would advise people to watch MSNBC, watch shows on that, find another financial network, read. There's nothing wrong with getting the online subscription to the Wall Street Journal and other financial magazines or financial outlets. You can also go find financial podcasts. If you're into podcasting, you can just go search on Apple or Spotify or any other streaming service, type in finance, and I'm sure a bunch of content will jump up with things you might be interested in. So that's absolutely amazing information you gave out tonight. And I totally agree with you. Just the last 3 weeks, we've talked about stocks, you talked about Bitcoin, and then the retirement funds you talked about tonight. Great tips tonight, because based upon and coming out of the pandemic, Silicon Valley has definitely been accelerated.
Yes.
Just upon the need for things in this time and in this season coming out of the pandemic, the need denotes that we accelerate some things in technology in Silicon Valley. So definitely tune in to stocks, 5G, and everything that Elder Alonzo Hinton spoke about tonight. So there are some more questions, Elder Alonzo. I'm going to give you some time offline to go ahead and answer those questions. We talked about something that is fantastic coming in the future. I can't wait to tell the people about it in the coming weeks. You know, I'll just tell the people that it's something great is on the horizon.
Amen.
Something great is on the horizon. We also want to let people know we have been in spiritual warfare all week at noontime here at Chicagoland Christian Center and Marshall Davis Ministries. We thank you so much for all the people that wanted to be here and they weren't able to get away from work. So we want to let you know we will have the prophetic word going forth on this Tuesday at 7:30, as it has been the entire month of January. We are in consecration, fasting, and praying the entire month, and this is our season of first fruits. But we want to also let you know that we did not leave you out, because Wednesday night and Thursday night at 6:30, you can come and join us and be our reinforcements in spiritual warfare. That's right. If you can't get here at noon, you can get here next Wednesday and Thursday, 6:30 each night. 6:30, starting at 6:30, we'll be here. We're going to get right to it. Spiritual warfare, everyone is going to be involved, from the praise and worship team all the way down to anyone that walks in the door. Notice I didn't say anything about being a member. Anybody that wants a move of God and wants the move of God in their life, show up Wednesday, show up Thursday, 6:30. The power of God is going to be in the embassy. It's going to be there for you. And then Thursday, we have something special for you. It is family night. Family night. Family night. I'm going to say it again. Bring your family. Call up your children. Call up your uncles, your aunts, your fathers, your mothers, your sisters, your brothers. Everybody come together and take back what the devil has stole from you and cause your legacy to be wide open. God said he's going to bless the legacy of our families on Thursday night. It's family night. Don't you miss it. Wednesday and Thursday, 6:30 p.m., 929 East 103rd Street. We can't wait to see you. The best is yet to come.
We got plenty of masks and plenty of sanitizer and plenty of space. So you don't have to be scared.
No, you don't have to be fearful at all. We are well prepared.
Well prepared.
Amen. The masses. That's one thing we as a ministry through this pandemic, we have always been well prepared to receive the masses. So come out and be blessed Wednesday, Thursday, 6:30. And if you want to hear the prophetic wind that's been sweeping through Chicagoland Christian Center the entire month of January, you can come out Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Well, once again, we thank you for joining us right here, Financial Fridays, brought to you by Marshall Davis Ministries. We'll be right back with you for Manna Mondays this Monday, 7 p.m. right here on the Facebook page of Apostle Marshall Davis, his Twitter page at WordMD, and also the Facebook page of Chicagoland Christian Center. As soon as we're done, go ahead and share this to your pages so everybody can receive the financial advice given by our own Elder Alonzo Hinton tonight, and share the rest of the content. You can go back and watch that on the Facebook pages of Chicagoland Christian Center and Apostle Marshall Davis as well. Until next week, 7 p.m. for Elder Alonzo Hinton, I'm Pastor Sean Davis. As always, remember, the best is yet to come. We'll see you next week on Financial Fridays.